The setting sun painted streaks of red, orange, and purple across the darkening sky. Crickets chirp a nightly tune while fireflies wink in the deepening twilight. High above, in the dense canopy of an ancient banyan tree, a pair of white egrets tucked their two fluffy chicks in for bed. The chicks, still too young to fly, snuggled close to their parents, their downy feathers ruffled by the evening breeze. This banyan tree was massive, its sprawling branches providing shelter to a flock of egrets. A clear, placid pond lay at its base, reflecting the sky like a mirror and teeming with tiny creatures. And it was here, amidst the whispering leaves and the gurgling of the pond, that Shubhra and Daybol raised their chicks, Sheath and Shubhra. One morning, as the first rays of sunlight filtered through the dense foliage, reaching the forest floor, Shubhra stirred. Her belly rumbled softly, reminding her that it was time to find food. Turning to her partner Double, whose eyes were already open, she said, "Double, my love, our chicks must be hungry by now. Let's go find them some breakfast." Double, always the more cautious one, replied, "It's true, but shouldn't we wait for the sun to climb higher? The tall trees block most of the sunlight from reaching the ground. It's easier to spot prey when the light is stronger." Shubhra nodded, realizing the wisdom in her mate's words. Time was of essence if they were to find enough food for their chicks. As the sun ascended higher in the sky, bathing the forest in golden light, Double and Shubhra took flight. Their white plumage gleaming against the dark green backdrop of the dense forest, they soared over the tall trees, their keen eyes scanning the ground below for signs of a bountiful breakfast. Finally, they spotted what they were looking for, a distant swamp, its surface shimmering like a sheet of silver, promising a rich source of fish. With a shared look of understanding, they veered towards the swamp. Upon arriving, they found a plethora of fish darting through the water. With practiced ease, Shubhra dove into the water, her sharp beak quickly snatching a large snakehead fish, emerging from the water with her prize clutched firmly in her beak. She shook droplets of water from her feathers. Meanwhile, Double opted for a different strategy, patiently waiting for a fish to come within striking distance before making a swift grab. He emerged from the water with a glistening mirror carp in his beak. Both birds carried their catch back to the nest, eager to feed their hungry chicks. More than 30 minutes passed. Shura returned with a huge snakehead fish in her beak. As soon as she placed the fish in front of the chicks, Shwet and Shura jumped up. Their tiny tummies grumbled at the smell of the fish. Shubhra tore the fish into small pieces and fed them to the chicks. But Double hadn't returned yet. Shubhra and the chicks waited eagerly for him. Suddenly, a tree branch shook. Double had returned, but he didn't have a fish. Instead, he had a frog in his beak. The chicks turned their heads away at the sight of the frog. They wanted fish, not a frog. Double said dejectedly, "I couldn't find any fish today. After a long search, all I could find was this frog." "You'll have to eat this," Shubhra scolded him. "Oh, Double, why would the chicks eat a frog?" Double retorted angrily. Then what am I supposed to do? Should I create a fish out of thin air? Hearing their argument, Shwet and Shubhra began to tremble in fear. Their tiny bodies shaking with fright, Shubhra saw the fear in her chick's eyes and immediately regretted raising her voice. She nuzzled them, trying to calm them down. Then she turned to Double, her gaze firm yet gentle. "We need to find a solution," she said softly. "Our chicks cannot go hungry." Double, seeing the distress he had caused, felt remorse. He knew his anger had gone overboard. "You are right, Shubhra. I apologize for losing my temper. I'll go again, but this time I won't return without a fish." With a determined nod, Double took off into the sky, leaving behind a cloud of dust. Meanwhile, Shubhra did her best to cheer up the chicks. She sang them little songs, trying to mask the worry she felt. Deep in her heart, she knew that finding fish wasn't easy, especially for Double, who preferred hunting larger prey. Would he be able to return before the chicks became too hungry? After what seemed like hours, although it had only been about half an hour, Double returned. His beak was empty. Disappointment tugged at Shura's heart. Had he not found anything? Just then, Double opened his beak, revealing a small frog. "I'm sorry, Shura, all I could find was this frog," he said, his voice heavy with regret. Shubhra knew that arguing wouldn't help, so she simply nodded, understanding the effort Double had put in. Yet her mind raced, thinking of a solution. She had to find something, anything, to feed her chicks. She couldn't bear to see them go hungry. She looked at the frog in her hands and an idea sparked. Maybe it wasn't the most appetizing meal for the chicks, but it was something. With a deep breath, she started tearing the frog into smaller pieces. The chicks, sensing the change in their mother's tone, stopped crying. Their tiny beaks opened in anticipation as Shubhra offered them the frog. To her relief, they ate it. As the last morsel of frog disappeared, Shubhra and Double exchanged worried glances. Neither of them liked feeding their chicks anything other than fish. The thought of their chicks going hungry was unsettling. Suddenly, Double had an idea. "Shura, remember that small puddle near the bamboo grove? The one with the little fishers?" Shura nodded. How could she forget? It was one of their regular fishing spots. Could it be? She exclaimed, hope flickering in her eyes. Without wasting a moment, they took off toward the bamboo grove. Double's eyes glistened with excitement as he spotted the familiar puddle. With practiced precision, he snatched a large silvery rohu fish from the water and brought it back to the nest. Shwet and Shura chirped with delight as they watched their father arrive. Double carefully tore the fish into pieces, ensuring each piece was small and easy for the chicks to eat. The chicks, their hunger forgotten, pecked excitedly at the offering. Watching their chicks eat filled Double and Shubhra's hearts with immense joy. They knew how important a good meal was for their growing chicks. As the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the forest floor, the family of four settled in their nest. Double nudged Shubhra gently, his voice a soft murmur. Shubhra, I was so wrong. Our chicks are the joy of our lives. We can do anything for them. Shubhra, her heart full, caressed Dobble's head with her beak. His words echoed the sentiment in her own heart. Their argument, a distant memory, was now just a reminder of how strong their bond was. They had weathered a storm and emerged even stronger on the other side. As the night deepened and the forest hushed into a peaceful slumber, the 6 white egrets huddled together in their nest, their love for each other as boundless as the sky above. The banyan tree, silent witness to their story, stood tall, its branches a comforting presence over the little family. And so life went on for the happy family of egrets, their days filled with the joy of parenting and their nights with the warmth of togetherness. They taught their chicks everything they knew, preparing them for the day they would set off on their own adventures. And as the chicks grew, they never forgot the valuable lessons their parents had taught them. They understood the importance of perseverance, the strength of unity, and the value of unconditional love. Years passed, turning the chicks into strong, graceful egrets. They would often return to the banyan tree, their home, their haven, where it all began. Each visit was a reminder of the roots that held them, grounded, reminding them of who they were and where they belonged.